Yeah, we're doing another creative one on the sewing machine today. Yesterday we did the free motion embroidery, and I think what I'm trying to show you is that while sewing machines are great for curtains and garments and pillowcases and anything else like that, they're also really lovely if you can use it to create pieces of art and be just really creative with them. So today we're going to be making these little pots here. Was pot, bowl. I've always said I wanted to create a bodice out of it. It's just this way of almost creating a fabric using wool and scrap fabrics already. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I was going to do a demonstration with a voiceover, but I've realised that the sound quality isn't great on my computer, so we're just going to try and wing it today with just doing it straight on the machine. So I apologise if the machine is excessively loud. Okay. So what I've done is I've cut some lengths of wool. I normally make mine about 2 meters long and then double them because you need them to be doubled over. I've now lost the one that I was using. Here we go. So you're going to take your length of wool and you're going to double it. So you end up with a double strand. Now at this point you can do two things. You can either leave it flat or you can twist it, and I'll show you the difference in a minute. So on my top and bottom threads I've got the same colour, but that's a personal choice. I'm going with blues. Now the colour of your thread is important because that's actually going to determine your fabric colour as such at the end, as much as the wools that you're using. So I'm going with a kind of bluey purpley theme for mine. So I've got blue on my top, blue on my bottom, and my machine is set up to do a medium-sized zigzag. Okay, so I'm tilting you down and I'm going to zoom in the hope that you can see. Now where normally I normally say to my students when we're sewing, you don't need to pull the fabric through, the dog teeth will pull it through for you, the feeder teeth underneath. In this case, because you're working with wool and it's so thin, the teeth have got nothing to get hold of, so you are going to have to pull it through. So what I tend to do is put the loop end over my finger and just give it a little twist so it's there, and then I slide my wool underneath my machine. So all you're going to do is zigzag over the top of your wool. Now if you want your wool to be quite flat, like this one, then leave it flat with the two strands side by side. If you want it to be more of a round fibre that you end up with at the end, then twist it as you go. I like them quite flat, so I'm just going to leave mine as it is, and I'm going to pull it through gently. Now I'm going slowly in the hope that the noise isn't as unbearable. But you can, I'll do a quick demo, you can go quite quickly doing it. The quicker you pull through your wool, the less of the thread there will be on it. So it depends on whether you want your wool colour to be dominant or your thread colour to be dominant. So that's how to work with the wool. Okay, I'm going to take that out because I've got loads of the wool already, and I want to show you how you can also work with fibres and kind of, there we go, just tilt you back up again. Oh, hang on, let's zoom you out so it's not quite so scary. Right, there we go, it's a very big face there. So this is strips of sari silk, and I get them from the company I told you when I did the weaving one, called Yarn, and they do the most beautiful vibrant colours of sari silks that have been cut into strips, and it's the offcuts from making the sari, so you're kind of recycling and upcycling as well. It's a small business, it's a small UK business who import from India, so you're supporting a local UK business as well, which is great. So that's Yarn. So Y-A-R-N, and then just repeat it again. And the lady who runs it is a lovely lady who very helpful, and is still working through the lockdown, because I had some delivered the other day for my weaving. So what I've done is I've taken my sari and I'm just going to twist it, and you do need to twist this one because otherwise you just end up with a zigzag down the middle of a piece of fabric. It just doesn't work. How much you twist it depends on how big your fibre at the end is going to be. So let's tilt you down again, and zoom you in again. Oh, that's out. So again, you're going to have to pull it through because there isn't enough of the teeth to get hold of. And as you can see, as it comes out, I'm going to finish this one, it's not very long. Excuse the noise. Right, so now have my length of the sari silk that's been zigzagged over the top of as well, and you can tell I've made that into fairly flat fibre as well because I haven't twisted it too tightly. Now at this point what you want to do is you want to join together your two fibres. So I am trying to get you a better shot here. There we go. Oh no, you shot off. I think that's a slightly better angle. So all you're going to do is you're going to lay two of your lengths side by side, and you're going to zigzag them together. Okay, so I've got my two lengths here. I wonder if I can sew backwards. Will that make it easier for you? There we go. I will sew backwards. Oh, this could be freaky. So, again, I'm going to have to give it a little tug to get it to go through. I'm just holding it flat at the front. I'm working blind here, so bear with me. Oh, I lost my foot. Oh, and I'm now working left-footed as well. Oh, the things I do. Right. Keep the join so where the two pieces meet in the middle, central, so I know I'm zigzagging evenly over both pieces. To the end. Right, so oh, I'm all back to front. That didn't go very well. So what I would now do is I would choose, because I've now joined these two together, I would now grab maybe a different fibre, so I've got a different shade of wool here, and I would stitch those together. Okay, so you end up creating this fabric of stitched together. So again, I'm just going to lay it down, drop my presser foot. So I'm attaching these two together here. Okay. Oh, wrong foot. It's amazing how you drop into habit. Right, I'm going to stop there because the last thing you want to do is sit and watch me stitch everything together all day. So, although you've got three totally different coloured fibres here, you've got a turquoise, a dark blue, and a, oh, I've got myself in the right pickle here, and a purple. When you look at them, the dominant colour starts to become your thread. Does that make sense? So that turquoise is actually, the turquoise thread on the top is actually what's pulling them together. Now, if you want to make a bowl, all you're going to do is start to coil them. Now, I actually genuinely don't know if I can do this upside down. So I'm going to just, first of all, fold them in half. So all I've done is flip them over. And I am going to stitch that like that, but with a straight stitch. And that will... Ooh. Oh, this is scary. I can't figure out what I'm doing. Bear with me. And somewhere here is the button. I'll go backwards. Right. So I'm just going to flip it again. So I'm almost making a triangle shape. Does that make sense? And again, I'm just going to stitch that in place. I think I am anyway. Oh, there we go, yeah. Oh, how exciting. Ooh. So that's going to form almost a central section of your bowl. So you might want to trim your threads off, because otherwise it does get a bit messy, because there's a lot of backwardsing and forwarding going. Now at this stage I'm going to move back onto zigzag. I am. There we go. And I'm going to start to sew them in a circle. Now if you allow it to, it will naturally curl. So it will start to curve up and form a bowl or a cup or whatever it is you want to do. I genuinely at the moment I'm going to really struggle to figure out how I'm going to do this backwards, but I will give it a go. Not like that. I need to go that way. Probably should have practiced this before I started. Right, okay, so I need to turn it. You will be able to figure this out because you'll be sitting the right way around. And all you're doing is zigzagging together all of your pieces as you go. So if you turn, now this bit's really fiddly. As it gets bigger, I'm just going to flip round because I can't cope with this. And I'll talk to you here. There we go. Oh, there we go. Hang on. Ooh. Right, so I can't work in a spiral that way. That was really confusing me. I know, note to self, must get better at working backwards on the sewing machine. So if you just work in a spiral, it will start to curl, and however much you want it to curl. So this one I just allowed to form itself, and it will, because it will just shrink up as the stitches pull. But if you want it to be flatter, you just need to kind of gently tug it out as you're going, and it will genuinely. Let's see if I can get this one going. And this bit's really fiddly, and I'm not even going to pretend it's not. But once you get going and you've got that larger piece of fabric to be handling, much easier. So as I say, this first bit is quite frankly a bit of a nightmare. But I would say give it 4 turns and you'll have it. It'll be rolling on its own. Here we go. So I'm now starting to roll without having to keep stopping it and moving it and stopping it and moving it. I've now got enough fabric to hold on to. I can just turn as I go. So this is starting to curl up. Okay. So, and I don't want it to curl up. So what I'm going to do is stop. Give it a little bit of tug to pull it flat, and then carry on. So you are in control of how much it curls, but it does involve just a little bit of tugging and making sure it's kind of in the right place. So here, I mean, looking at this one, I've just run out of bobbin thread. You can actually use them to make coasters as well if you want to. It's quite a nice thing to do. Or Madonna bras. It's entirely up to you. Bit of a fiddly one today, bit of a stop and start, I am sorry. Once you get going with these, they're really, really lovely to work with. So I would say give it a go. I've not made it look as easy as it should, but that's because I've been working upside down and back to front and all sorts of different things. So have a go, enjoy it, and show me what you've made. But as I say, cups, bowls, little placemats, anything really. I mean, you could actually create swirls and things. They make really nice sea movements if you want to do a big textiles quilt piece as well. And I look forward to seeing what you create. Okay, bye bye. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.